Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday. So I've had a pretty good response in the last couple of weeks on the videos I did on sparring, situational sparring. One of the things you have to realize in this series, as I'm on video 200, whatever it's on now, and have been doing this for almost 4 years, that the videos are interconnected. If you're just watching one isolated, you're really not getting the whole picture of what I'm conveying. And so I refer to other things frequently, hoping that you'll go back and check those things. Some of the negative comments have come from when I teach what are called the prearranged techniques. So why do we do yakusoku kumite, or prearranged promise fighting, then ippon kumite, and then jiyu ippon kumite, and then kumite? And how do they connect? Well, you have to go back and watch, the techniques themselves. But just as an example, so our very first technique, Seidokan yakusoku ichiban, number 1, all right? YK1, he step punches, I step back block, and I pivot and punch. Now, in and of itself, very stylized. You could look at that and go, well, that's not realistic, nobody punches like that. And you're right. But somewhere, I want my body to learn solid stance, snappy block, strong pivoting punch from the hip. I could do that without a partner, but it's much more effective if I have a partner and something to block and something to aim at. Then we move it up to the next level. Well, in this case, the yakusoku to ippon kumite, there's really not much of a change because it's one-step sparring. He's going to punch jodan. The only change would be I might change my block. Jodan, hey, block, punch. Same technique. He does maigeri, hey, essentially same technique, block, turn, punch. So I'm working on my body positioning in the block and my rotation of the hip for power in the punch. Very Japanese-ish, really, if I'm being honest with this one, but it is fundamental Okinawan karate to learn to block and punch. Higher or lower stances, depending on your style, preference, strength, flexibility, blah, blah, blah. So we do that technique. Now, in sparring, one of the things, and I addressed this way back when, I don't even remember how long ago in one of the early sparring videos, is the tendency when we spar is that I throw a technique, and he throws a technique, and then I throw a technique, and then he throws, and typically we're almost even mirroring and copying each other in single techniques. How realistic is that? Well, if I can move around and simply throw a single strike and a single block, I don't belong there. So if I'm talking real karate self-defense, if I have room to be doing this, I have room to be doing this. And that's the better option. Now, I may not be a good runner, I may have to stand my ground, but I don't want to be doing this in that case. He may be all fiery, and I'm going, hey, now, man, come on, knock it off, right? And then he takes whatever his shot's going to be, and I'm going to move, and I'm going to pivot and punch. And so we connect the free sparring concept here. Instead of just random hits, I'm going to go more self-defensive, and I'm going to let him attack. And I'm going to block and strike. Rather than let him block, or let him strike, I block, then I strike. I need to take this, or this, or this, or this, whichever one of those I'm doing, whatever his attack is, and I need to condition myself in a kumite setting to immediately return the attack, the defense. So again, we're sparring. He's thinking fighter. I'm thinking, let's get this way. We got to think camera angles. Don't have a director over here going, okay, move in frame, change, right? But we're sparring, and I'm going, no, I don't want to fight, man. And he throws a technique, and I'm going to do Seidokan ichiban, number 1, yakusoku. Okay. What about some of the more complex ones? I think it was number 21 of Kempo, which is kind of convoluted, but the point of it is to teach my body to go through and move relative to his body. What's the reality in combat? Well, here's the whole Kempo technique that some smart Alex said, why don't they do that in MMA? And I'll point this out in a second. So he throws his punch, a cat stance, block, strike, pull through, elbow, back fist, kick, dropping down, spinning hook. So that's the whole technique. Why don't they do that in MMA? Well, let me ask you this. In MMA, am I allowed to do this to an arm? No, I'm not. That's illegal. Okay? In MMA, am I allowed to do this? Side kick to a knee. Not that I know of. I don't think so. And especially switch stance, so that just for camera, I mean, if we're the other side, we can go left forward stance, right? Especially here, right? Now, you will see in MMA inside leg kicks, outside leg kicks. That is, as far as I know, not allowed. There are rules. Now, each of those individual techniques are in the long one that I did. So why do the long one? What do I learn from that? I learn A, to block, position myself, get a stance from which I can counter or move back in. I'm not going to sit here for an hour. So when we move this to more of a sparring situation, I just move off to the side. Okay, sparring, he just continues. Go. Okay, I'd get that right away if I practiced doing that. Throw sparring, he throws a combo. Okay. I can still, don't stop, continuous. Right? I can still leopard poem. Right? In Thai boxing, this pushing at the shoulder and guarding the head, very much part of the technique. I'm just on the other side. So with a left lead, I'm going to do the technique on the opposite side. I'm going to go here. Okay? Now maybe I can get this. Boom! Take his leg out. Do they throw spinning hook kicks in MMA? Can't hear you. What? Yeah. Yeah! Yeah, they do. Okay? So we're sparring. He's doing a spinning hook kick. He's not doing the whole technique verbatim as we did. Maybe he has to block first. And I'm going to run away. So, what happened to the whole premeditated, choreographed 80s movie fight scene technique? I went back and watched all the Renegade TV series, Branscombe Richmond and long hair, what's his name? Vince. Anyway, the actor, went back and watched all those. It's all one-step sparring choreography in those, which is campy and hokey, but okay. But in real life fight, does that mean I'm never going to land a leopard fist? No. In real life fight, does that mean I'm never going to double circle block and get a kick in? No. In a real life fight, does that mean I'm never going to take his elbow, maybe be able to finish with the elbow, and then do my technique? The concept of the prearranged techniques, okay, is so that I learn that what he's doing here is irrelevant. Now, when you watch like Aikido demonstrations and public demonstrations, watching what the instructor or the tori, the active defender is doing can be really woo-ah. But if you really watch, the attacker is pretty much being static for the sake of the demonstration. Understanding, hopefully, in a good dojo, that they progress, like I showed, into sparring, free sparring, more randori, rolling, whatever your term for it is. You have to progress to that, but within that, just sparring, right? Right? Within that, I'm going to, at some point, now, this isn't the technique I just did. Can I get to something in that technique from here? Yes, I can. I can pop his head, turn, take a knee, boom, take his head. Okay? He didn't know that was going to happen. Now, we paused here. In real life, I wouldn't have paused, but I had to talk to you. So don't confuse the preset learning how my body moves in space don't confuse that with the next layers that we add on, where we now are going to free spar. Or we're going to situation spar, which is even more likely to yield the technique. So I'm here, bully guy's up in my face, dude, right? I'll be the bully. Because you're a sucky bully. He's too nice. I can beat him. Okay? I'm up in his face or whatever, right? I want you to do Kempo 21. All right? So I'm up in his face. I'm, hey, you better, right? And now there's a good possibility in that scenario that at least some or more pieces of, now he may not do the whole thing. You be the bully. I might just be that. Take his shoulder. Okay, I had Kurt Sieber in 2009. I'm in with the swing, right? Boom! Pop that shoulder up and out. He'll feel that for a minute. Now I could go to the face or any number of places. But I'm going, hey, no. And he takes his bully swing. Boom! Okay? Now, maybe I don't do the whole technique, but I do some of it right here. How did I know to kick the knee and then spin? I learned that from the prearranged technique and selected the portions appropriate to the moment. The technique gives me the whole menu. The situation tells me which item on the menu I'm going to select. And that's how we transition from yakusoku to ippon, to jiyu ippon, to free spar, to situation spar for self-defense. And if you go back and connect 2 weeks ago video to last week's video to this week and apply those lessons back to some of the prearranged techniques that may in your mind at one point have seemed hokey, you can see that those techniques will yield results. Seidokan Yakusoku number 2, YK2. I love this one. Brilliant. It doesn't give us any follow-up. So our follow-up, we get to be creative. Yakusoku number 2 from Uke. Hey! I sidestep, block, or just dodge. Bam! Pop his rib. Okay, now we're sparring. Yeah. Okay, I may land that. He may attack first. I don't know. I'm going to land that. And that contextualizes the yakusoku all the way up to the jiyu kumite. And that's why we practice the prearranged techniques in a safe environment first, so that I can learn for my body how it needs to move to put myself in an optimal position for my defense. Thanks, sir. So hopefully that takes the last 2 weeks plus the last 4 years, whether it's the bunkai or the whatever the self-defense scenario that we do in a stilted formal karate way, whatever those techniques were, this is where we start to contextualize those and put them into the more randori, jiyu, situation sparring, free sparring type of format. Thank you for joining. Hopefully that makes some connections for some of you. Comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, go home and practice, do a kata, kiss your mom, and until next week, as always, let's keep practicing.